Welcome to Restore Movement, working with resistance. I'm so excited for this practice. We are not going to use any massage balls for this one because we're going to use the support of gravity and the earth to massage our body and our beautiful hands. And so all you'll need are 2 pillows. If you have yoga blocks, you can use yoga blocks instead of pillows. And a blanket, or you can double the mat, or you can do this practice on a rug. So anything with some extra comfort and support for the back and the knees. And we're going to work with resistance. I'm going to shift our perspective with softening instead of fighting against resistance. We're going to ease into the stream. So we're no longer swimming against it, but we're working with this natural experience of our human self, which is resistance. Our body sometimes resists earth against gravity. We feel tense in the body. Sometimes we resist life emotionally. We feel these negative emotions. Sometimes our mind resists itself being present by getting into the future or the past, into anxiety or resentment, depression, or sadness. And so instead, if we can just take a moment to create some space, examine our relationship to resistance, how we show up, what we think about, what we do, how we act. And become more self-aware, we can gain this perspective and access to what is always available within us, which is ease into the ebb and flow of life. So taking a moment to close the eyes, set a clear intention, why you're here, what you want to gain, a commitment to staying present in the mind, body, and heart, no matter the resistance we may meet. Taking a deep, full breath into that. Open the mouth, exhale. Let it go. Softening into the support of gravity and the earth. Blinking the eyes open. Coming forward to hands and knees. You can move those pillows or blocks off to the side. And your blanket, you can use it for the knees. Or if you're using a towel or a mat, you can just place that right under the knees for some extra cushion. Come on to hands and knees, spread the fingers nice and wide, and go right into those cat-cows. As you inhale, arch the back, lift the gaze. As you exhale, round the back, pull the belly, the navel to the spine. Inhale, arch, matching the movement to your breath. The breath now becomes your guide. If it's ever difficult to breathe, if you notice the breath pauses or you're holding the breath, that might mean there's some resistance in the body. To simply acknowledge it, to become aware, to soften, to shift, and come back to this natural flow of breath. Inhale the arch, exhale the round. Now as you breathe in this time, arch the back and extend the right leg out behind you. And then exhale, round the back and draw that right knee to the right elbow. Kick the right leg out to the side and plant the right foot down on the ground. Right toes face the same direction as your fingertips. Begin to bend into that right knee. Lean towards the right foot and then circle forward and around. Bending and extending the leg and just opening up through the hips, through the ankle joint and the wrist joint, the shoulders. And then go the opposite direction, rotating around the leg, turning that synovial fluid in the hip joint into butter, pressing into those fingertips, Taking one more inhale, one more round, exhale. And then extending that right leg back behind you, lower the knee to the mat. Turn the fingers back to face the knees, so we open up the wrists. And just begin to open up through the neck. So let the head drop down, left ear to left shoulder, lift the gaze to the sky, arch the back. Right ear to right shoulder, drop the head, and you might round. And then do that a couple more times. You might even turn the hip so that you turn the head. One more round. Make it as fluid with the breath as possible. And then go the opposite direction. Slow it first, right ear, right shoulder, head to sky. Left ear, left shoulder, head down. And then you might go a little bit smoother. One more round, one more breath. And pausing, turning the fingers to face forward. You might just shake them out a bit. Extending the left leg back behind you, arch the back. Exhale, round the back. Left elbow to left knee. Kick the left leg out to the left and plant the left foot. I'm just going to switch my direction so I have a little bit more space. Bend into the left knee and then begin to rotate around in a circular motion, just like we did on the right side. So we're opening up all the joints of the body, the ankles, the wrist, the hip joints, the shoulders. And when our joints are open and spacious, our mind becomes a bit more spacious. Go the opposite way. And this spaciousness creates a bit of breath between the stimulus of our experiences and our reaction to them. So instead of resisting and reacting, we get to respond with a bit more alignment to our empowered self. Take a pause, extend your left leg back behind you, then lower the knee down, plant the palms, walk the palms a little bit farther forward, and lift the hips into downward facing dog. You can keep that blanket where it is. Lift the right leg to the sky, bend your right knee, open the hip, and with that knee, make circles on the ceiling. Really big circles, taking the knee 3 times one way and 3 times the opposite way. Again, opening up that right hip joint. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Exhale, right foot outside right hand. Big step forward. Gently lower the left knee to the blanket. Lift your right arm to the sky. Big breath in. Let that right knee wide and open. And then you're going to take your right hand to the inside of your right leg. And we're going to use resistance to open through the body. So you're just going to press your right hand into the inner right knee. Press the right knee into the right hand. So there's work, there's a bit of effort there. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Press, press, press. Resist. Breathe deep. Keep going. We're kind of fatiguing that muscle. We're strengthening it. When a muscle, keep going as I talk through this. One more breath in. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then exhale, release and open. And you can stay here on your hands, or you can begin to move down onto your forearms. So now we get the ease part that comes after resistance. And what we've done is when a muscle in our body feels tight, like down here in the hip and the glutes, we need to strengthen it first. We need to build that bit of tension and resistance to then get the opening and the lengthening that we desire, that stretch. Take one more breath here. Just let the hips sink. Let the body soften. Good. And then planting the hands, stepping back to a downward facing dog, noticing the differences between left and right side of the body. When you're ready, lift that left leg to the sky, bend your left knee, open the hip, draw circles on the ceiling 3 times one way, 3 times the opposite way. Inhale, straighten the left leg. Exhale, giant step to the outside of your left hand. Lower the right knee down. Lift your left arm to the sky. Left hand to the inside of that left thigh. Again, build resistance. Press the knee into the hand, hand into the knee. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Build, strengthen. Keep going, keep breathing. We have to put in a little bit of work, a little bit of effort to get the release and the ease, the dissolving of tension that we desire. Keep going. One more breath. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then exhale. Let that hip open. You can stay on your hands. You can lower to your forearms. If you have those blocks, you can stick blocks under the forearms. Let the hips drop. Let the head drop. And the body softens, opening to the support of the earth, letting gravity do the work for you. One more breath in. One more breath out. Coming onto your hands, stepping that left foot back next to the right. Come into downward facing dog. Lift that right leg to the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip. And then come into pigeon. That right shin moves to the top of the mat. Right knee to the outside of the right hand. Right foot closer to your pelvis. Extend your left leg back behind you. Now, if you have any knee problems, knee surgery, if this just doesn't feel good on your knee, you're going to skip this and come onto your back and cross your right ankle over your left thigh. And then you're going to hug the left knee in. And when I say resistance, you're going to press the knee, your left knee, into your right ankle, and your right ankle into your left knee. Feel it right down there in the right hip. If you are upright in Pigeon, you're going to resist by lifting upwards. Lift yourself up. So resist if you're on your back. Right ankle into the left thigh presses into the right ankle. If you are upright in Pigeon, you're squeezing up, you're lifting yourself up, you're working against the floor for 3, 2, squeeze, 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 1, and then soften and melt into the earth. You can lower onto your forearms, you can rest your head onto the mat. If you're on your back, you can just gently hug that left knee in towards the chest. Breathe in, breathe out. Two more breaths. Notice what comes up in the mind when we resist and the spaciousness that's created when we soften and let go. Take one more breath in. One more breath out, and then gently come onto your hands. If you're upright, step back to a down dog. If you're on your back, just stay on your back, lower both feet to the mat, windshield wiper the knees left to right. And then lift that left leg to the sky. Pigeon on the left side, the left shin towards the top of the mat, left knee to the outside of the left hand, left foot in towards the pelvis. Walk that right leg back. If you're on your back, left ankle crosses the right thigh, and then you can hug that right knee in. So first we're going to resist. If you're upright, you're lifting up, you're squeezing the legs towards one another, you're squeezing the muscles to the bones. If you're on your back, you're pressing the left ankle into the right thigh into the left ankle. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Build that effort, that work for 3, 2, 1. Soften and release. Walk the hands forward. You can come onto your forearms. You can rest your head down. If you're on your back, just hug that right knee into the chest. Feel the breath breathing the body. One more breath in. Exhale out. Inhale, walking the hands in. We're going to meet in a seated position, so you can just swing that right leg forward. If you're on your back, you can come to a comfortable seated position. And you may want to now lengthen your blanket out to its full, so it fully covers the mat. We need a little bit more space for these next couple movements. So coming to the top of the mat, take the soles of the feet together, knees apart, hold the feet, open the feet up like a book, and I just want you to take your fists and gently tap the feet, the toes, the inside of the shins, calves, inner thighs, all the way to the back body, to the outer hips, and back down to the tops of the feet. And then hold on to the feet, press the elbows into the knees, press the knees into the elbows. So you might be all the way up here, you might be a bit down closer to the earth. Wherever you are, press, press, press. Build that resistance. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze for 3. Press the elbows into the knees, knees into elbows, 2 and 1. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, just fold, releasing over the legs. Now make sure there's room behind you to roll back. Nothing to hit your head on, nothing to run into. And you're gonna hold on to your feet and then roll back, feet over the head, and roll forward. Roll back, roll forward. And we're getting a really nice massage of the whole spine, opening up our back body so we can breathe a bit deeper. See if you can match the movement to your breath. These next few series of movements I love so much because we get to release all control, all holding, all resistance. We really get an opportunity to almost be like a child again. Take another 3 rocks. Try as little as effort as possible, so just with the momentum. Now I'm gonna face towards you, but you can stay facing the mat. And you're gonna take your right shin to the top of the mat, kind of parallel like that pigeon, and the left knee behind your right foot. The hands can come behind you just to support you, so that right shin is about parallel to the top of the mat as best you can, and the left knee is right behind the right foot. And then you're gonna sit up. We're gonna do a little experiment. You're gonna take your left hand and slide it under your left glute, your left seat, and notice how much space is between my left seat and the earth. So can I fit like a golf ball? Can I fit my fingers under there? Is it really close to the mat? Maybe I can just slide like a sesame seed underneath or a piece of paper. And then taking the hands behind the back to support, you're just going to start to tap your left knee onto the earth. And tapping left knee onto the earth is signaling to the knee, to our nerves, that the ground is here, we're supported, and we can begin to release. The muscles can unwind and soften. We don't have to be so tense and grasping, resisting. We're using the support of the earth to let our body know that we're safe. You can tap maybe in circles, one way, opposite way. Good. And then pause the tapping, take your left hand, hold the left hip, and begin to rock the left hip forward. Gaze over your right shoulder. You might see your left foot behind you, and then you're gonna rock back and kind of pull that hip back. I've gotten a lot of good cracks out of this one. See your foot, match it with the breath. And if this hurts in any way, the hip joint, if it feels a bit uncomfortable, listen, tune into the body. You just might not go as deep or as far. And that's totally okay. Gazing at that right foot as you twist. Sorry, that's your left foot. I'm getting all mixed up now. Let's do one more. Roll back. And now come to that tall seat and take that left hand under your glute and just notice, is there any difference? Is it closer to the earth? Wow, isn't that magical if it is? And then you're gonna take your feet out nice and wide, keeping the knees bent, and just windshield wiper the legs left to right. And notice, is there any difference or similarity between the right and the left hip now that we've worked with the left hip? And letting the knees fall over to the left. So now that left shin's parallel, the right knee is behind the left foot, and the hands are here supporting you. First, our experiment, you're gonna sit up, right hand under the right seat. You might notice how much space is between the right seat and the ground, the difference between the left and the right. What could you fit under there? And then taking the hands behind you, you're just gonna be in a tap the right knee onto the earth. Again, this is just letting our knee know we're safe. The ground's right here. The muscles can begin to unwind, the nerves in the body begin to signal to the muscles that the ground's right here. We're protected. We don't need to resist or grasp or be tense. You might go in a circular motion one way and the other way. And then come to a pause. Take that right hand to the right hip. And as you inhale, you're gonna roll forward, roll that hip forward, gaze over that left shoulder. You might see your right foot, and then rock back as you exhale. Inhale forward, exhale, rock back. Inhale forward, moving nice and slow. Inhale forward, exhale back. Let's do one more. Inhale forward, exhale, rock back. Taking the hands, our experiment, we gotta complete it. Finding a nice tall seat, taking that right hand under the right hip, noticing differences, similarities. Are you a bit closer to the earth? I know I am. And then taking the hands behind the back, just beginning, you're gonna do those windshield wipers again. So take the feet out wide, bend the knees, windshield wiper to the left, to the right. And we're gonna get our arms involved here, releasing all control. So now as you twist to the right, knees to the right, that left arm releases and kind of taps your back. And then the left hand plants as you twist the left, and the right arm releases. And you wanna make sure you have enough space so that those arms can really let go of any control. Tap your back, your upper back, so you get a nice massage, opening into the lungs. And you'll know if you're controlling the arms because it's kind of, moving a little slow. There's some tension there. Keep going with the breath. This is just the best thing for the body. If you do this every morning, you'll show up to work just feeling good, ready to go. You might go a little bit harder with that arm hitting the back if it feels good. Go for another 3. Match the breath. Inhale, exhale, 2, and 1. Come to a pause. Extend the legs forward, out in front. Walk or scoot yourself, I should say, towards the top of the mat. Bend your knees, grab your feet, and we're gonna roll back a couple times once again. Feet overhead, rock forward. And now that you know what it feels like to release control and grasping and resistance, I'm just gonna take that into this movement. Focusing on your breath, rocking forward, rocking back, massaging the spine. Go for another 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna come to our back. Draw the knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice hug, a squeeze. Grab your pillows or your yoga blocks, and taking the soles of the feet together and the knees apart, you're just going to place the pillows right under your knees to support, or blocks under the knees. Let the hands rest on the abdomen, one up towards the chest. Roll the shoulders back, close the eyes. Feel the whole body releasing into the support of the earth. The muscles softening from the bones. Releasing into the hug of gravity. As you sense the whole body letting go. Simple awareness on the breath, an easy breath. Noticing every time there's breathing in and breathing out. And just for the next 10 breaths, breathing this slow, subtle, positive rhythm of breath in and out the body. Feeling the breath breathe the body. If you have some time, you can stay resting for a couple extra minutes. You can transition to deep rest, listening to that guided meditation. Or if you're ready, you can begin to deepen this next inhale. Exhale, opening the mouth, letting it go. Coming back to your breath, feeling this next inhale. Releasing on the exhale. I invite you to stay resting here if you have a couple extra minutes. And if you're ready, letting this next breath deepen into the limbs of the body. Open the mouth, exhale, side out. Let it go. Beginning to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Gently drawing one knee and then the other into the chest. Giving yourself a nice squeeze. Rocking off to one side. Resting on your side for a moment. And gently pressing yourself all the way up to a comfortable seated position. Letting the eyes remain closed as you find a hand to the heart. Sealing our practice in gratitude by sensing gratitude for showing up, for breathing, for taking the time to massage and stretch and open. And gratitude for the earth, for supporting us, holding us. As we take one last deep breath into that hand on the heart. Opening the mouth, exhale, side out. Let it all go. And when you're ready, gently blinking the eyes open. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. If you have some extra time, I recommend trying that breathwork practice for resistance and the deep rest. And I'm so thankful you are here practicing with me. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you.